Good evening, everybody. I want to continue on with the discussion that I'm having with the book Complete Idiot's Guide to Paganism. We have done the taboo and the earthward boxes, and tonight I want to do the oracle boxes. Now, the book says this. These tips will increase your understanding of nature, spirituality, and will help you along the pagan path. So this is some good, just general information to help everybody else out. So this is very important information if you are just starting out on your path. So let's dig in. To appreciate the pagan path, set aside regular time for enjoying the natural world. If you live in the city, find a garden or a park where you can sit quietly. Suburban or rural folks might enjoy a forest, some farmland, or even a remote wilderness. Take the time to be silent and listen to your heart's wisdom while enjoying the beauty of the earth. This is very important that we get out in nature. One of the things that I always tell people, if they have a chance, take your shoes off, get dirty. If there's a small little creek, river, that you can trust, get your feet wet. Connection with nature is very important. When you are just beginning to explore the pagan path, take your time. Try to learn all you can about Wicca, Druidism, Shamanism, and other forms of nature spirituality. Don't commit to the first style of paganism that catches your eye. Another branch of paganism, a pagan path, may end up suiting your personality better. And there are a lot of different forms of paganism out there. And so, yes, please explore all that you can, because you will not regret learning more and more about paganism. One way to understand the concept of communing with nature is to look at an example from another religion. Some forms of Christianity have a ritual called Holy Communion, in which Christians eat bread and wine as a way of communing or feeling the presence of Jesus in their lives. In a similar way, pagans spend time in nature as a way to find and appreciate the presence of the god and goddess in their lives. So, when spring and summer and fall come around, if you can go out in nature and, grab an apple, eat some grapes, raspberries, blackberries, that would be kind of like communion, like what the church does with Jesus. Find at least one way to commune with nature on a regular basis. If possible, this should be an outdoor spot that you visit on an ongoing basis. But even if it's caring for an indoor plant or pet, that's okay. You'll want to pick a spot where you can spend time sitting in silent reflection, just getting to know nature better and listening to your inner ear and to the wisdom you might find in these settings. Doing this not only will be rewarding in itself, it will help you develop meditative skills that will benefit you as you learn more about the pagan ritual. That's pretty much self-explanatory. I know a lot of people that can't get out to the country, and so having a room with a few plants by a window might be the next best thing that you can do. Do you keep a journal? If not, now's a great time to start. Whenever you sit in nature, meditate, perform a ritual, or do anything of other spiritual activities explored in future chapters, Take time to write about your experiences. Keeping your own journal makes it easier to remember your spiritual experiences and to record your progress as a pagan. Notebooks. Notebooks are, it's almost like a required thing here if you're following the pagan path. Notebooks. You will use them for practically anything and everything. I have one that is poetry, Celtic lore, rituals, important quotes, and my ceremonies book. The ceremonies book is because I'm an ordained minister, and if I wanted to have some written speeches ready for cases of weddings, hand fastings, and funerals. If you want to become an ordained minister, it is easy. There are actually online spots where you can do it for free. Are you having difficulty curbing your shopping habit? Cut up your credit cards. When you can only spend what you have, you learn to think twice about what you buy. If you already have large balances on your credit cards, you'll pay them off faster once you stop adding new balances to the account. Materialism is bad, for humans in general here. This is also trying to tell you that there is no keeping up with the Joneses in paganism. Buy what you need, and don't splurge on something so you can look more important than you really are. The ideal way to experience shamanic drumming is with a frame drum, which one person plays steadily while others go on their inner journeys. If you don't have access to a drum or to a friend to play it, there are many produced series of recordings everywhere. YouTube will have them. There are many synthesizers that would have a steady drum beat that you can also use. Are you interested in learning the shamanic ways of a particular people, say the Lakota Indians, the Australian Aborigines, or the Yoruba people of Africa? If so, make this part of your learning process. Get to know the economic and political structure of that group of people in today's world. Many indigenous people live in extreme poverty and often are in danger of their culture being totally wiped out as modern technology affects every corner of the world. See if there's anything you can do to help the people of that culture as a way of showing respect and saying thanks for the wisdom you've received. And also on the previous videos, it was mentioned to also have respect for the religion. So, it's great to learn about other religions. Just make sure you show it some respect. Many Wiccans use the phrase, all gods are one god, and all goddesses are one goddess, as a way of explaining their understanding of deity. Wiccans love the many faces of gods and goddesses from throughout world mythology, and will call on many different goddesses and gods in their rituals. However, they see the many gods and goddesses as aspects of a unified spirit. Okay, now I wanted to read that, but I have to also explain that is for Wicca. Wicca is a denomination of paganism. Not all pagan cultures view it this way, because people like myself, I am a polytheist, and why would I want 20 different goddesses? But I'll say, but they're all the same god anyway. I might as well be a monotheist or a dual theist, a male and female follower. But that's my opinion. In many covens, members of a group are referred to as firsts, seconds, and thirds. This is a common shorthand for the person's degree. Also, most covens wear robes during their rituals, and even if the robes are all the same color, members will wear different colored clinglums, cords, tied around their waist. The different colors signify the different levels of initiation. In most traditions, they have 3 ranks. Some have more, and it depends all upon your tradition. While many pagans form groups, groves, and other communities, it's okay to practice pagan spirituality all by yourself. Just as Wicca and Shaman both have an initiatory dimension to their tradition, it's also perfectly fine to be a solitary druid. If you practice any kind of pagan spirituality all by yourself, you might enjoy connecting with other like people through the internet. And this is very true. Like myself, being from central Iowa, it is very hard for me to find local people to share thoughts and ideas with. There are some groups, and not all groups are going to agree with you. And so sometimes it is easier to practice on your own, but it's harder to learn when you're on your own, because sometimes we need that motivation and push that a coven or grove can give you. According to some Wiccan traditions, witches are governed by the law of 3, which is a variation of karma. According to the law of 3, any energy you put forth in your life, whether it be positive or negative, will come back to you magnified 3 times. This is commonly the threefold law, or as I usually refer to, is the law of retribution. Like I said, this is Wiccan. There are many different cultures and traditions in paganism. Not sure what pagan path to follow? You can always ask for help. Before going to sleep at night, ask your spirit guides to help you identify which path is best for you. See if an answer comes to you in your dreams. Guidance can also come through the words of a friend or through coincidences in your life. That last part's very true. Sometimes asking for help to the powers that be is all you have to do, because sometimes they'll throw you hints. The story that my better half gave me, it is just truly amazing. She was helping her mom out. They had to get a vacuum cleaner repaired, and she was just starting her pagan path, and she was trying to figure out what to do. And this is from Santa Cruz, California. And so she was taking the vacuum cleaner to this one repair shop, and right next door was a pagan shop, an occult store. And so she stopped in there, and that's really what made her path in paganism a lot easier. So sometimes you just got to keep your eyes open, and they will come to you. Most pagans recognize that any concepts about the ultimate nature of reality can only be models or theories about what is really real. What makes a paradigm useful is how practical it is. If your model of the universe helps you live happy, mature, and an ethical life, most pagans would agree it's a pretty good model. Although there is no one right way to think about the other world, it's helpful to know about some of these different ways of understanding the spiritual realm. When you read different myths from around the world and writings from various spiritual teachers, you will run into different ways of thinking about the mystical dimension of the cosmos. On a more practical note, if you choose to study a particular tradition, or with a particular teacher or group, you'll probably want to work within your tradition's accepted ways of seeing things, remembering, of course, that the ultimate nature of reality is far greater than any human concept could ever capture. Therefore, no one paradigm is perfect. The universe is vast. To understand it is a great task. So, take your time and enjoy it. Contacting your spirit guides is one of the most important and basic of tasks as you seek to become more connected with the other world. There are many different ways to establish contact with your guides. If you'd like to read more on this subject, one basic and very helpful book is How to Meet and Work with Spiritual Guides by Ted Andrews, which is a Llewellyn publication. Not the biggest fan of Llewellyn books. When a girl enters puberty and when a woman enters menopause can be times of celebration and rites of passage. Puberty signifies moving from the maiden phase to at least the potential for the mother phase. Menopause likewise signifies entry into the crone phase. You can honor these important transitions very simply with meditation and prayers to the goddess, or through elaborate rituals and rip-roaring parties. But don't forget that men also go through changes with their puberty as well. Many Wiccans and other pagans express their love to the goddess through devotion to the moon. If you don't know the phases of the moon, try getting a calendar that specifically lists moon phases. One of the best ones is called the Lunar Calendar, and it can be purchased through any feminist or metaphysical bookstore. There are also many apps that you can download for your computer, your tablets, and such. On my little tablet, I actually have a moon phase tracker, and so as I, run it, I can just look up in my upper corner and I can see what phase the moon's at, and then when I just tap on the little icon, it will actually give me the percentages and such. So they're there. It can be done pretty easily. For many pagans, the sun symbolizes the god and the moon symbolizes the goddess. This directly relates to yin and yang. The moon rules over the night, the darkness of yin, while the sun rules over the day, the brightness of yang. But as in the other video says, it is not a case where it's all yin or all yang. It's not all black, it's not all white, because the moon is a reflection of the sun. There is some male in there. And when we look at the daylight, there's times where the moon's in the sky. So there is female in our lives too. There is a balance that we have to keep in track in our minds. We can't just go, sun's out, yang, okay? Many pagans keep a set of deer antlers as a symbol of the god, or on a pagan altar. Antlers can be a lovely and simple way to honor the masculine dimension of spirit. The reason why they do have that is because of Cernunnos, who is the Celtic god of force and nature. I actually don't have deer antlers on my altar. I don't own a pair, and I never will. My personal opinion is I am not going to have an animal die for my altar. Okay? Some people have difficulty relating to the horn god simply because of the long-standing cultural ideal that horns symbolize evil. Even when pagans intellectually understand that the horned one represents positive life force emotionally, it can be hard to shake off old programming. Try focusing on the green man as your primary symbol of God. He represents a joyful image of divinity that anyone could love. Okay, this is the scars of Christianity that they're referring to here. Christianity developed Satan, the devil, by perverting pagan god symbols such as Pan and Cernunnos. Okay, because there's actually no pictorial references to Satan or the devil in the Bible. It is a construct of Christianity, and they used pagan gods to build it. The green man is a wonderful symbol that you can work with if you're having some problems getting past it. But in all honesty, you have to get past the concept of, it's horned, it's evil, because deer have horns. Are they evil creatures? No. They are generally very peaceful, wonderful creatures, as long as they don't jump in front of your car. When reading a mythology of your favorite pagan culture, notice which gods and goddesses are lovers, or at least friends. When you do pagan rituals, or even just offer prayers, it helps to work with a god and goddess who like or love each other. This makes for a more harmonious and effective spiritual experience for you and for them. Okay, this is why I say that we should work with a complete pantheon and not grab different gods and goddesses from different pantheons and throw them together. This is right there, more harmony. And the better harmony that you have, the more positive energy, the more wonderful results you will get. Even though the sacrificial gods of mythology always made the ultimate sacrifice, in other words, they gave up their lives, for most of us, sacrifices we make to help others are usually much smaller. Still, even a small sacrifice can be meaningful when seen in the light and love of the god and goddess. be helpful to people. I mean, I did this, oh gosh, it's been a little while. I'd say been about 7 months ago. I was driving in Des Moines, and this person had a "Will Work for Food" sign, on the corner, and I had some money. So I went around the block because I couldn't stop fast enough when I first saw him. So I went by, I had my window down, I pulled out the 20, and I slowed down so he can grab it, and I says, I wish you luck. He said, thank you, and all that. I helped somebody, and that's kind of what we got to do. The small sacrifices that we can do is something we must do. Remember that pagan spirituality celebrates what is natural. Since dreams and the imagination are natural parts of human consciousness, to pagans, they are perfectly valid ways to connect with spiritual truth. Many pagans endorse the words of Albert Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay. Imagination is wonderful, but you need knowledge, you need an education to help keep it real. That's just my opinion. Spend time getting to know your spiritual guides or allies. Whenever you meditate or do rituals, take the time to still your mind and reach out to your guides. The more attention you give them, the more helpful and beneficial they'll be for you. Have a relationship with not only the gods and goddesses, but your guides as well. That is really the best way for you to have a higher level of spirituality and success when you do your rituals. Friendly spirits do not want to upset or alarm us, so they will appear to us in a form that feels safe and comfortable. For many people, even pagans, the angel is a powerful symbol of goodness and hope. So don't be surprised if you meet spirits with wings. One thing that I had a problem with for the first few years of my path on paganism was I was still very angry about being a former Christian. And so I was shunning anything that could possibly be Christian. And so I refused to have any angels up in my house like for Christmas, Yule. And it took a while for me to read several articles to realize that pagans have angels too. Fairies, have wings. So angels are good. Sometimes you just gotta call them nature spirits, not the angels, if that helps. An old principle of the magical art of alchemy states, as above, so below. In other words, there are natural correspondences between the physical and spiritual worlds. The fairies and other natural spirits are entities whose existence is based on those natural correspondences. This is why nature spirits can sometimes be seen in the physical world. Their existence, like our souls, bridge the two worlds. There are different ways of thinking on this. There are people that separate the physical world, the mundane world, with the spiritual underworld, and so it's like they're two different spheres. It's like, here's the physical world, the mundane world, and over here is the spiritual world. and they separate them. But they're actually like this. They are intermeshed. They are one entity. Just because we can't see them does not mean that they're not there. That is the way I look at the universe. And maybe that might help you too. I don't know.